Simon Whitfield's love affair with sports began around a pothole on Couper Street in Kingston, ONT. The hole in the road near his childhood home became center ice, and Whitfield and his friends would gather there after school for a game of road hockey. All my sporting dreams were born there, all the camaraderie I enjoyed in sport, and this love of sport began at that pothole, Whitfield said. I remember it was during the Edmonton Oilers' heyday, so you were allowed to be anybody but Wayne Gretzky. Story continues below. Advertisement. Just your imagination and how it works, and you're imagining yourself in this position, and then years later you're one of those athletes. And I think it all begins there. Think of that game you played as kids. How about and imagine if? That brought me right back to that. I don't think I ever said imagine if I was in the Hall of Fame. The Olympic triathlon champion was one of 9 individuals inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame on Thursday, and like his Hall of Fame classmates, the occasion had Whitfield reflecting on his humble beginnings, and his journey to become one of the country's greatest athletes. Lanny McDonald calls joining Canadian Hall of Fame incredible. The Canadian press. You don't prepare as an athlete for this, Whitfield said. You're preparing for these competitions where you want to express your gift, and then someone calls you and says you're in the Hall of Fame. It's also a nice end to the chapter. It was a big part of my life, and to be recognized for those sporting accomplishments and then move on to the next thing. Whitfield joined Stanley Cup champion Lanny McDonald, Olympians Carol Huynh and Cindy Clausen, golfer Mike Weir, lacrosse standout Gaylord Pallas, and the Edmonton Grads women's basketball team. Neurosurgeon Dr. Charles Taylor and Canadian Paralympic founder Dr. Robert W. Jackson were named in the Builders category. Pallas and Jackson were both honored posthumously. The 42-year-old Whitfield won gold at the 2000 Sydney Olympics, where triathlon made its debut. McDonald remembers that day. I'm a huge sports fan, and to be able to think back and watch Mike Weir win the Masters, to see Simon running toward the finish line. I teased him. He's got his shirt done up today. McDonald joked about the iconic image of Whitfield sprinting across the finish line, skin suit unzipped to his navel. Whitfield won silver 8 years later at the Beijing Olympics. Story continues below. Advertisement. McDonald, 64, amassed 500 goals and 506 assists in 1,111 career games with Toronto, Colorado and Calgary from 1973 to 89. He scored the winning goal to lead the Flames to their 1989 Stanley Cup, and then retired. The highlight of Thursday's news conference came when Kay Macbeth, who at 95 is the only surviving member of the Edmonton Grads, asked McDonald for a kiss. How about that? McDonald grinned through his still bushy mustache. His outgoing demeanor and his red mustache made McDonald one of hockey's most iconic figures, and he hopes he inspired young people and players to play the game just the way that we did, and bring their best effort each and every day, and bring passion and enthusiasm regardless of what you do. You try very hard to be a great example. You try hard to make a difference in other people's lives. My father Lorne was a great teacher and mentor in making sure that if someone needed help, you jump in and help, whether that be through charities or just trying to inspire other people to be good Canadians more than anything. The 38-year-old Clausen, from Winnipeg, is Canada's most decorated Winter Olympian with 6 medals: gold, 2 silver, 3 bronze. 5 came at the 2006 Turin Games: gold, 2 silver, 2 bronze. Story continues below. Advertisement. Weir, 47, became the first Canadian to capture the Masters in 2003. The native of Brights Grove, ONT, has registered 15 pro wins and in 2000 became the first Canadian to play in the President's Cup. The 36-year-old Wynn, who recently gave birth to her second child and sewed WASNT at Thursday's event, became the first Canadian to win Olympic gold in women's wrestling in Beijing in 2008. 4 years later in London, the native of Hazelton, BC, claimed bronze. The Edmonton Grads amassed a stunning 50,220 record from 1915 to 1940. The team also participated in 4 straight Olympics, 192,436, and was 270, but received no medals because women's basketball WASNT an official event. I've got all the memories of the girls I've played with, and to think I'm the last one is not fair. It's not fair, Macbeth said. There were some great players I played with, and without them I certainly wouldn't be here today. Pallas, of Oswegan, ONT, led the Oshawa Green Gaels to 4 Minto Cup championships, 196,467, and was twice named the most valuable player. He and his father, Ross, are both members of the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame. Pallas died in July 2001 at age 54. Jackson was a founding member of the Canadian Paralympic movement in 1967, and in '76, organized the Olympiad for the physically challenged. The Toronto native died in January 2010 at age 78. Tater, 80, of Toronto, is an expert on sports concussions and spinal cord injury. In 1992, he founded Think First Canada, which helps educate young athletes. In 2002, helped develop the Canadian Brain and Nerve Health Coalition 2 years later.